Perfect. So, guys, I am here with one championship flyweight, Reece Lightning McLaren. Reece, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, really well. Very, very well.
Good. So, Reece, you're going to be fighting on one championship, a new era on March 30th. You are a part of the flyweight bracket, the 8-man tournament. So, first things first, coming from that, how did you get the news? Who told you that you were going to be a part of that 8-man tournament?
Look, to be honest, I learned the same day everyone else did. They just released the bracket, and there I was. I pretty much had assumed that I'd be on it, just being in the position that I am. So, yeah, I just sort of learned the same day everyone else did, which is fine. Sweet.
No, mate, perfect. And obviously, so you're going over to Japan for that fight. When is it you're actually going to be flying over?
They fly us out on the 27th, Wednesday. So it's a bit different fighting on a Sunday, but it'll be same.
No, great. And, it's a monster card, isn't it? Would you say it's, one's biggest card, 4 title shots, 4 title fights, Eddie Alvarez, obviously Demetrious Johnson.
I think it's the biggest card that there's ever been for mixed martial arts, to be honest. When you look at the caliber of the guys on there, you have, I think, the best flyweights in the world are on one, and they're doing an 8-man tournament, and it's all go.
No, that's it, mate. Obviously, in one, flyweight is 135 pounds. If you were to ever come sort of stateside and fight, would you remain at bantamweight? Would you try and drop it down to 125? Like, where would you be at if you ever came over to, say, Bellator or the UFC?
Yeah, no, definitely you'd be able to cut weight down. They do it's pretty serious testing that they do for us. It's 2-day testing. We have to be on weight and hydrated for those 2 days. So I'm walking around pretty much on weight now, and you cut 3 or 4 kilos down to that weight, it's pretty much nothing. It's just probably the smallest cuts that I'd probably ever have to do.
No, brilliant. I saw that. I was reading into it, and the sort of the hydration levels need to be something like around 39% or no less, or something like that. It's they really want to take care of their fighters. Obviously, there's been issues in the Far East before with fighters cutting too much weight, not so much in America. So it's good to see that they're really sort of taking care of their fighters.
Yeah, man, they're really looking after us. This is definitely, I think, the future of the sports this way.
No, and that's it, mate. So you're obviously on the other side of the bracket to Demetrious Johnson. But what was, when you heard the news of the whole unofficial trade, like, what were your initial thoughts?
Oh, look, I thought it was excellent. It's drawing attention to the Asia side of the martial arts, where there isn't a lot of Western knowledge or even attention that side, and it's put it way into the spectrum of now 1 and 2 UFC and 1. It's brilliant.
And that's it. I think for a long time, anyone who was sort of on the way out of the UFC, the only go-to was Bellator, maybe the PFL World Series of Fighting. But now you're seeing Demetrious come over. You're seeing Eddie Alvarez, seeing Sage Northcutt, and I imagine other flyweights will start heading over as well. Chatri is just always seemed to be on the drive. He wanted to make it the biggest. Obviously, you had Rich Franklin in the background, now Misha Tate. What's it like in terms of production? When you rock up on Fight Week, you're going to be there for a few days before. What's the usual, from your previous experience, what's the usual production like?
It's like family. You go there and everyone's so happy that we're there. They're all very welcoming. It's pretty much the same crew each time around as well. So it's like the production behind it's phenomenal. I think a lot of people get blown away. They put on a show. Like, it's not just us competing. There's like a ceremony. There's all sorts of fireworks and things going on throughout. The whole thing is amazing. No, so amazing to be a part of.
And that's brilliant, mate. It really is. I think the Far East MMA has always been known for putting on a spectacle, putting on a showcase. So like Pride and now One, and Ryzen as well. It looks like it's going to be that type of event. It really is sort of, with the likes of Angela Lee, Bibiano, Fernandez. There's some real good fight. Not just the Western fighters. There are some very top fighters on this card, and I agree, it could potentially be the biggest card. I've never seen 4 titles on one night, so So it is going to be amazing. So your opponent, Kairat Akhmatov, he's got a fantastic record. He's since being in one, he's 3-2. However, his only 2 losses professionally are in one. All of the fights have gone to decision. You, on the other hand, 3-fight win streak, 2 of them via submission. What do you really know about your opponent?
Yeah, look, he's ex-champ. We drew the ex-champ, which is brilliant as well. It puts a lot of pressure on us. And he talks about being the underdog. I think him being the ex-champ puts me to be the underdog, to be honest. He's short. He's a couple-time national Greco champ, so he can wrestle and he knows how to win. So I'm excited to get in there.
Yeah, that's great. Obviously, if it goes to the ground, you're no slouch there. You love to pull out a submission. You've had some excellent submissions, Dark Stroke recently, everything like that. Stand-up wise, obviously, like you say, he's a judo champ. He's got, he's in that sort of caliber. But for stand-up, how do you feel you two compare?
I think it's going to be interesting because it's the first time I'm going to be competing against someone that's marginally shorter than me.
Right.
I think I've only ever competed against someone smaller than me once my whole career. Everyone else has always been bigger, which is saying a lot. I should have always been flyweight.
You'd be a giant at the 125 division.
Yeah. Oh, man, I think this is like my primo weight. Like, I just feel optimal down here. Yeah, should have always been down here.
No, mate, that's brilliant to hear. So, obviously, the winner of your fight will fight Danny Kingdad, and now it's Senzo Ikeda. He obviously is replacing Andrew Leone, who came up injured. Do you know much about those guys? Are you looking that far ahead, or is it right now just focused on the task at hand?
Oh, look, I'm always looking on, but for me, it's one fight at a time. It's always been sort of one fight at a time, so I'm not really overlooking anything at all. But I definitely have seen. I know Danny quite well. We've chatted and fought on a couple of cards together. Super explosive, comes from that Team Lakai and has big lungs, so it's going to be a scrap as well.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. When you see people who may not have that much knowledge on one championship and its fighters, they're just going to assume Demetrious Johnson and Eddie Alvarez in the lightweight and the flyweight. They're gimmies. They're gimmies for them to become the champion. What would you say to people that may think that, who don't have the necessary knowledge yet?
Yeah, look, it's a poor connection here.
No, cool.
In a way, that they have that view that DJ is the greatest flyweight of all time, but it's the new weight protocol and the guys that are competing in the Asian circuit are something special. There's when you look at like body types, big legs, good balance, stand up is phenomenal. It's a different sort of, what's the word? Degree of mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
When we start to look at mixed martial arts now as a sport, it's a different sort of style that the East have than the West.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with that. I've seen some of the fights, and it's also interesting to see that. So Demetrious he's gone up in weight. Obviously, he was a flyweight. He's now technically fighting at what he would call bantamweight, where he lost twice in the past. Eddie's going up to 170. Sage Norcutt's going up to 185. Why do you feel they're all going up weight classes and not staying at the weights they fought at previously in the West?
It's just that weight protocol. So flyweights, we have to weigh in 2 times in that week at 61.2. They've just made it safer for everyone rather than that weight cut.
Okay.
Why they made the names different, I'm not really sure, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, no. So when people say, "Oh yeah, Eddie's staying at lightweight," obviously people don't know that he's going to be fighting at what most people call welterweight. But that's interesting. So you're going into this fight on the back of a 3-fight win streak. Is it kind of reassuring to know what your next steps would be? Obviously, if there wasn't a tournament, you came out here on Saturday, you won your fight. You don't know, maybe you could get Demetrious next. But the fact that you know what the process will be, does that make it more reassuring? Does it bother you at all? Does it mean nothing kind of thing?
In a way, it's exciting because you kind of know who you're going to be competing against next. Like once the night's done, you know who is next, and you kind of know when they're going to be. So you got a time frame, and you have an opponent straight after your bout, which is awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah, no, that's good. So if yourself and the winner of King Dan Aikido come out sort of unscathed in your fights, when have you been told sort of a specific or just a rough sort of timeline of when that fight would be, when the next round would be?
Nah, we've been given nothing of such, but I guess when we get there, we may. So once I get down to this weight, I'm happy walking around here, so I could go as soon as possible again. It'd be sweet. Quick turnaround. Let's do it.
No, great, and that's good to hear. Ideally for you, if like I say the sort of fights came out unscathed, how quick would you like to get back in there?
I'd like to get the 3 or even 4 fights this year. So I'd be looking at maybe a 2-month, 3-month turnaround. That'd be ideal.
So for you, ideally, you'd want to do
unscathed. I'd be looking at like a 2-month turnaround. That'd be.
So in your ideal world, you'd go through the whole tournament and complete it by the end of the year.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Ballsy move, but that'd be an interesting time. So what's now? So these last sort of few days before you fly out there. So you say you fly out there in 6 days. What are these last 6 days like? You said you're already on weight. Is it more just about recovering, relaxing the body, you staying sharp? Like what's this next week for you?
Yeah, no, we keep pushing. We just maintain this weight, and there'll be one more hard cardio session coming up, and then from there we fly out, do media and whatnot, and just about maintenance now, maintaining weight, maintaining the body, and then performing.
Got it. I know I'm not actually sure the answer. Have you fought in Japan before?
Nah, it's the first time I've gone to Japan. I'm so excited, man.
I bet, man. Everyone talked about. I remember Rampage used to say he preferred Japan all the time. So what's the plan while you're out there after the fight?
Oh man, I'm gonna hunt down some ramen.
Yeah.
Some good food. That's all I want. Some good food.
Yeah, bit of sushi, mate. That's quality to hear. So, like I said, you know what you're doing now. You know what the task at hand is. Are you always just going to keep an eye on Demetrious now, or is he just another ONE FC fighter that you may face?
Nah, look, I've been watching him my whole career. I'll keep watching him far until he retires. So eyes are sharply turned on to watch him. No, I'm excited to see him compete.
I think we all are. I think it's going to be interesting. You know, the weight change, the culture change. I think it is going to be a lot of hype on him. Obviously, it's going to be an interesting time for the former UFC fighters, and I'm sure there'll be more coming over. But Reece, mate, I really do appreciate the time today. Thank you. And go back to watching Rick and Morty, and I'll hopefully be chatting to you after the fight. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Chat then. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck, pal. See you later.
Thank you.